America is making this, well, monumental bet on clean energy. You see it everywhere, right? Solar farms stretching out, these huge offshore wind turbines, the smart grids being built. It's quite a vision for a sustainable future, definitely. And it's backed by what, something like $2 trillion in investment, thanks, largely to the Inflation Reduction Act. But here's the thing nobody talks about as much. Without millions of skilled workers, like really soon by 2030, that vision, it just doesn't happen. We are looking at a serious workforce crisis. So today we're doing a deep dive into something called EON Reality's Spatial AI Training Platform. It's this cutting edge solution meant to tackle that exact clean energy workforce gap using immersive AI powered training. We're really going to unpack how it works and the kind of impact it's having already. It sounds pretty incredible. Okay, so let's start with the challenge itself. This energy transformation, the scale is just huge, moving so fast. But like I said, if we don't actually have the people, the hands on folks to build and maintain all this new stuff, the whole thing could just fizzle out. What's the real core of this problem?
You've absolutely hit on the critical point there. And what's really fascinating, maybe a little alarming, is just how fast these roles are needed. The U.S. is staring down a projected shortage of, get this, 3.3 million workers by 2030, just in clean energy. And this is happening right as the country is launching, well, probably its biggest energy infrastructure overhaul in, modern history. That $2 trillion investment you mentioned, from the IRA and private money, it's creating amazing opportunities: offshore wind, solar, grid modernization, energy storage. Huge potential. But without the skilled workforce ready to go, these opportunities might just be severely limited. That's the risk.
3.3 million. By 2030, that number is just staggering. Can you break that down a bit? Like, where are the biggest shortages?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's put some specifics on it. The industry needs about 500,000 offshore wind technicians. That sector's scaling up really fast now, moving beyond just pilots. Then you've got 1.2 million solar installation specialists. That's for everything from rooftop panels to those massive utility-scale farms. And another 800,000 grid modernization technicians. These are the people building and managing the smart grids. And these aren't just numbers on a page. They're highly specialized roles. They need very specific skills and, frankly, often involve working in dangerous conditions.
Dangerous. Oh, okay. That raises a really important point, doesn't it? It's not just about the numbers, the sheer volume of people. It's about the stakes. Getting people trained, yes, but getting them trained safely seems paramount here.
Exactly. This is high-stakes work, no question. The energy sector, unfortunately, it has fatality rates about 2.5 times higher than the national average for all industries combined. So safety, it's not just a nice-to-have, it's absolutely critical. And layered on top of that challenge is this looming retirement wave. Something like 40% of current utility workers are eligible to retire in the next 10 years. That threatens a massive loss of knowledge, decades of experience walking out the door right when we need that expertise the most for this transition.
Wow. Okay, so massive demand for new people, skilled people, safe people, while we're losing the experienced veterans and their know-how. It really sounds like the old ways, classroom lectures, long apprenticeships, that they just can't possibly keep up with that kind of pressure.
They simply can't. Traditional classroom learning, those lengthy, often expensive apprenticeships, they just don't scale fast enough to this timeline. And critically, they can't always guarantee safety in these high-risk environments where, let's be honest, a mistake can be catastrophic for people, for the grid. The traditional models, they're just not built for the speed of change. They're not agile enough.
Right. And this is where it starts to get really interesting then. If the old playbook doesn't work, what's the alternative? What's the secret sauce? How does this EON Reality Spatial AI platform, how does it actually do it? How does it tackle such a huge problem, bridge that gap, and keep people safe?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, EON, this platform, is genuinely a breakthrough in how we think about developing the workforce. It cleverly combines cutting-edge extended reality XR, virtual and augmented reality, with AI, specifically AI-powered personalization. And this combination creates training experiences that, well, you just couldn't do before with the old methods. Think about it like merging that deep immersion you get from VR, AR, with the smarts, the adaptability of AI. It creates a whole new way to learn, one that's effective, safe, and importantly, scalable.
That does sound powerful. Moving beyond just reading a manual to actually learning by doing, can you walk us through what that actually looks like for a trainee? What are these core capabilities? How can someone practice something really complex, maybe dangerous, but do it safely?
Okay, yeah. Let's break it down. One of the absolute standout features is what they call digital twin power plant simulations. These are essentially exact virtual replicas of real-world facilities. photorealistic. Could be a conventional plant, could be a huge offshore wind farm. But the key thing is, they're not static. They integrate real operational data, real environmental conditions, wind, waves, whatever's relevant.
Yeah.
This lets workers practice those really dangerous procedures in an incredibly realistic, immersive setting. And here's the crucial part. If they make a mistake, it's a learning moment. Not a safety incident, not damaged equipment. They can fail safely.
Okay, failing safely, that sounds incredibly valuable.
But Pan Pacific, some might argue, can a simulation really replicate the unpredictability, the sheer physical feeling of being up on a turbine in high wind? How real does it get?
That's a fair question, a really important one. And look, no simulation today can perfectly replicate every single physical sensation, like gale force wind pushing against you. But the immersive safety training gets remarkably close in other ways. Workers experience incredibly realistic hazard scenarios. Imagine dealing with an electrical arc flash. You get the visual cues, the sound, or working way up high on that turbine, feeling the simulated sway, hearing the wind effects, or navigating an emergency evacuation where, yeah, stress is part of the simulation design. The platform is built to simulate that sensory input, that cognitive load, the stress of dangerous situations. So trainees learn the right protocols, build muscle memory, practice decision-making, all without actual physical risk. It's about training the mind, the reactions, the sequence of actions.
Right. Training the response, even if the physical feeling isn't one-to-one. Okay. So beyond the immersion, where does the AI-powered part fit in? How does it make the experience personal?
Great question. That's the AI-powered personalization. Inside the platform, you have intelligent systems that actually understand the 3D environment and what the trainee is supposed to be doing. So they can provide real-time guidance, they adapt the difficulty level based on how well you're doing, your learning pace, and they offer help contextually right when you need it during a complex task. So say you're struggling with one particular step in a maintenance procedure. The AI sees that. It might offer more detailed instructions or maybe replay that part of the scenario. It means the training really molds itself to each individual, makes it super efficient. You master skills faster and don't waste time on stuff you already get.
And what about that ticking clock you mentioned earlier, the knowledge loss from retiring experts? Does this tech help with that too?
Yes, absolutely. That's where the knowledge preservation aspect is just huge. Like we said, so many experienced folks are retiring soon. This platform allows organizations to capture that deep expertise. The specific ways veteran technicians work, how they troubleshoot things. There are little tricks and best practices embedded right into the AI systems. So that critical knowledge isn't just lost when someone retires, it gets passed on. It's almost like having a digital mentor with decades of experience guiding the new generation as they learn these new renewable technologies. And EON Reality isn't just throwing tech out there. There's a clear strategy. The platform focuses on delivering immediate impact in 4 key areas. First, high-risk safety training. They're seeing potential for a 35% reduction in incident rates. Second, equipment operation and maintenance, where it speeds up time to competency by a massive 66%. Third is regulatory compliance, helping meet standards from folks like NERC, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, and OSHA. And fourth, advanced technical skills for the new stuff, energy storage, microgrids, even cybersecurity.
Okay, so we've talked about the huge problem, how this technology works. Now let's get down to brass tacks, the numbers. What does this actually mean for someone going through this training versus, the old way? What's the real tangible impact we can see?
The data really paints a picture of a transformative shift. Let's use that offshore wind technician example again, a job in huge demand. Traditionally, getting someone fully competent, ready to go, that took about 5.5 months on average. With this spatial AI training, it drops to just 1.9 months. That's a 66% reduction in the time it takes to get someone proficient and productive.
66% faster.
That's
That's incredibly significant. But training costs money. How does it stack up there? Traditional methods involve travel, facilities, instructors.
right. And traditionally, all that added up to about $5,650 per trainee on average. Using spatial AI, that cost plummets to just $650 per trainee. It's an 88% cost reduction. Just massive savings. And then think about scalability. Old school training. You're limited by how many instructors you have, how much physical space or equipment is available. With spatial AI, it's virtually unlimited scalability. You can deploy it anywhere, train any number of people simultaneously.
Okay. Faster, way cheaper, scalable. What about actually remembering the stuff? Does it stick better?
That's maybe the most impressive part. Let's talk skill retention. After 6 months, studies show traditional training often leads to only about 20% retention of the skills learned. With the Spatial AI platform, they're seeing an 80% skill retention rate after the same period. That's a 300% improvement. People actually remember and can apply what they learned much, much better. And it circles back to accessibility. Traditional training often means traveling to a specific center. Geographic barriers. Spatial AI removes those. You get global accessibility to really high-quality, consistent training.
Those numbers are just, wow. 66% faster, 88% cheaper, 300% better retention. Hard to argue with that. But let's be real for a second. Implementing something this different, especially in a sector like energy, which can be, well, pretty traditional, kind of can't be that easy, right? What kind of pushback or hurdles do they face?
That's a really good point. And you're right. The benefits might seem obvious on paper, but the biggest hurdle is often just that initial mindset shift. For decades, training's been done a certain way. There's a natural, understandable skepticism about new tech, especially when safety is so critical. That whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality can be strong. So overcoming that, it takes time. It involves doing extensive pilot programs to show, look, here's the verifiable data. It means carefully integrating it with existing safety rules, not replacing them wholesale, and showing people it's actually easy to use. Plus, yeah, there's an initial investment in the hardware and software. Even though the ROI we'll talk about is fast, that upfront cost can seem like a barrier for some organizations. It's really about proving this isn't just some fancy gadget, but a genuinely safer, more efficient, reliable way to train.
That makes a lot of sense. It's changing culture as much as tools. Okay, so moving beyond the training itself, this feels like it's about more than just efficiency gains. It sounds like a whole strategic shift in workforce development, right? With some pretty major financial and maybe partnership implications.
Exactly. If we zoom out a bit, the financial case, the return on investment, the ROI, it's really compelling. Let's imagine a typical energy company workforce of about 1,000 people needing training annually. The platform can deliver around $1.5 million in direct training cost savings, plus about $428,000 saved from reducing safety incidents that's based on the 35% reduction rate. Then add roughly $3 million in productivity gains, assuming about a 20% efficiency improvement. And maybe $355,000 from optimizing compliance training. You add all that up, and you're looking at total annual benefits over $5.2 million. So if the initial setup cost is, say, $1 million, you get a first-year ROI of 428%. The payback period is incredibly fast, just over 2 months, or 2.3 months. Those kinds of numbers really make organizations pay attention. It shows the immediate business value.
A payback in under 3 months? Yeah, that definitely gets attention. So the money side is strong. But you mentioned partnerships. Who else needs to be involved to make this work across the whole industry? It can't just be EON Reality alone.
No, absolutely not.
Mm.
And that's built into their approach with a really robust strategic partnership framework. They're collaborating across the entire ecosystem. That means utility company partnerships, of course, doing pilot programs, maybe using revenue sharing models so the utility doesn't have a huge upfront cost. They get to try it out, prove the value. Then there's crucial trade union collaboration, working with groups like the IBEW, the UWUA. It's about integrating this technology to enhance their existing strong apprenticeship programs, not replace them, making sure it complements what they already do well.
Okay, utilities, unions,
Okay.
who else?
Well, there are significant government contract opportunities. Billions are available annually from the Department of Energy, Department of Labor, state workforce funds. And these agencies are increasingly looking for innovative training solutions like this. And critically, equipment manufacturer alliances. Partnering with the big original equipment manufacturers, the OEMs, think GE Renewable Energy, Siemens Gamesa, Vestas. They bring essential technical expertise about their specific equipment, and they have deep relationships with the end customers, which helps with market access and integration. These partnerships are key to making it seamless. And this platform is really hitting the market at a perfect storm moment in a good way. There's this immediate opportunity because you have federal policy pushing clean energy, massive capital investment flowing in, and the technology itself maturing. It all lines up. So organizations that jump on this now, the early adopters, they're really positioned to gain a significant edge, while others might still be struggling with those traditional training bottlenecks. The main targets are, the big investor-owned utilities, the renewable energy developers, contractors, government agencies, and the trade unions we mentioned. And EON Reality themselves, they've been in this XR space for over 20 years, so they have the track record. They seem genuinely committed to making this kind of advanced training more accessible.
Okay, so let's recap. We started with this huge challenge, the clean energy workforce crisis. Millions needed, dangerous work, knowledge loss. And we've seen how this spatial AI training offers a pretty elegant, data-driven solution. It dramatically cuts the time and cost, reduces risk significantly, and boosts how much people actually remember. It really seems like a powerful answer.
It really does. And this raises a fascinating broader question, doesn't it? Thinking beyond just energy, how could this blend immersive tech AI personalization, super fast scaling. How could it fundamentally change training and education across all critical fields? Think about healthcare, advanced manufacturing, first responders. The potential applications seem enormous.
Absolutely. The implications feel really profound. So maybe the thought to leave everyone with is this. In a world that demands skills change faster and faster, and where safety is always getting more critical, how will this ability to learn by doing inside a virtual copy of the real world? How will that redefine what it truly means to be prepared for the jobs of tomorrow across every industry? It's a fundamental shift. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the future of workforce training.